It feels like a pre-matted color from Daniel Smith. See the texture, it's really outstanding. So what up? Hi there again everyone, this is again Alan and welcome back to my watercolor channel. Today we have a new watercolor discovery. V of Paint in Hiding sent me samples of watercolor paints that are made in her country, Thailand. So to V, cap on cap. You know, before learning about these paints, I only thought that it was only Japan, South Korea, China, and India made their own local paints. But no, I'm very happy and thrilled to know that Thailand has their own local paints. So without further ado, let's review the Wichitrong watercolor paints. These paints were kindly sent by V on December 2020 and it arrived here in the Philippines in March 2021, and now it's already August. I know. I have finally found the time to review these paints. So again to V, thank you so much for sending these to me. By the way, V is an artist from Thailand and she is the person behind the YouTube channel Paint in Hiding and the art blog paintinhiding.wixsite.com, where she shares some awesome contents from watercolor and paint reviews to light fastness tests and more. I'll be putting the links at the description box, so please don't forget to visit her accounts. I was able to visit Thailand 3 times, 2 times in 2013 and once in 2017 when I joined the Bangkok Marathon. And Thailand is really a beautiful country. It's very colorful. The culture is really alive and rich. That time I tried searching for some local paints, but I wasn't fortunate to find one, so I'm really happy that V sent these samples to me. Now let's check out what's inside. So here we have our dot card, and what else? We also have here a letter from V. And it's carefully placed in this protective plastic. Now let's check out the dot card that she gave us. It really looks like an official product of Wichitrong. By the way, here we have the logo of the Silpakorn colors. I think this is the university logo also. And here's the brand name. It says here Wichitrong Artist Series. We have here the color name, Rose Madder, the number code, the series number, the color or the pigment code, and the pigment name, which is quinacridone, the transparency rating, and the light fastness rating. And according to nanmi.com, Wichitrong was named by Her Royal Highness Princess Makakri Sirinhorn. Wichit means refined beauty and Rong means colors. Wichitrong paints are artist-grade paints from Thailand. They have 24 colors in their line, and aside from the artist-grade paints from Silpakorn, they also have the Silpakorn Pradit, which is the student-grade counterpart. Oddly, the student-grade paints have 30 plus colors, while the artist-grade paints have 24. And now I'm showing you some shots from this video. The tubes are made of aluminum, and in front of the tube, they're showing the Silpakorn logo, the line name. And by the way, this is an 8 ml tube. And on the side, they're showing the vehicle used, which is gum arabic and also dextrine. And also they're providing the color name, the pigment code, the transparency rating, and the light fastness rating. And here we have some details about the companies related to these paints. And it's a product of SC Industry, a Nanmi Group company, which is licensed by Silpakorn University. So from what I understand, I think the formula is from the university, from Silpakorn, and they're giving license to the SC Industry, a Nanmi Group company, to produce the paints. And it also says here it's made in Thailand, and we have here the website of the makers. It's www.nanmi.com. I'm not sure if there are sets, but according to cwart.net, it is only available per tube, and there are 3 price groups. The first group is 65 Thai baht or $2. The second is 75 Thai baht or $2.25, and the most expensive is 105 Thai baht or $3.14. Now for our swatches and sample painting, I am using my silver black velvet brushes. I have here a travel brush, this is size 4, and of course a flat brush. And of course, as always, our paper is Arches 185 cold pressed cotton paper. So let's remove the protective plastic sheet. And since the paints are really moist, we got some paints in our plastic sheet, and I think these paints are enough for us to color our swatches and even our sample painting. So let's not waste the paints. Let's use this first. So let's begin with Rose Madder, and Rose Madder is PV19. And since the paints are still sticky, it re-wets very instantly, and it's also very vibrant. Now we have Permanent Red, which is using PR254, and this is really thick and also very vibrant. Wow, so far so good. Wow. Next we have Azo Yellow using PY154, also very vibrant. Next color is PG7 or Phthalo Green. Yes, also very pigmented. Next we have Phthalo Blue using PB15:3. Next color is Cerulean Blue, and this is using PG50 and PB28. These are not the usual cerulean pigments, but these two are genuine cobalt pigments also, so I don't have any complaints about this. PG50 is a genuine turquoise or teal color, while PB28 is genuine cobalt blue. Now let's go to Ultramarine Blue, and as you can see, it's made out of two pigments. We have here PB29, the ultramarine pigment, and PB28 cobalt blue. I'm wondering why they had to combine those two pigments, but this is just a beautiful ultramarine blue. And lastly, we have Burnt Sienna using PBR7, of course. It's granulating beautifully, I think, and that excites me. Yeah, this is really granulating. And also the Ultramarine Blue, it's really granulating so beautifully. But I've noticed something here in our Burnt Sienna. It seems like there's a golden yellow pigment that separates from the brown mass here. So now, while we are waiting for our swatches to dry, let us now proceed first to our sample painting. And I'm gonna be speeding this up to save time. If you have any questions regarding our process, please don't hesitate to ask at the comment box. So let's go. Now both our sample painting and swatches are finally dry. We can now have a closer look. These paints gave me honestly mixed feelings. The colors felt like they are from different brands. The colors have different textures. Of course, they're made out of different pigments, so they're gonna give you different, different textures and characteristics. But in most brands or most artist grade paints that I've tried, there is this one unifying element that makes you recognize, oh, this is Sennelier, this is Daniel Smith. But these paints are unique in that way that each color feels different from each other. For example, their permanent red PR 254, it's so strong. It's very, very strong that it overpowers all the other colors that I mix with it. While the Azo Yellow, the PY 154, though it appears very saturated and vibrant in the swatches, it is being defeated by all the other colors that I mix with it. So as you can see here, I used Azo Yellow without any mixes so that it could stand out, so that it could be seen. The phthalo colors are standard in my opinion, and the cerulean blue eventually turned out like it's a mix of phthalo blue and white, although I love the honesty that they showed the pigments here. The Rose Madder PV19 is a beautiful color, but it's the only color here that showed the most noticeable drying shift. The Ultramarine and the Burnt Sienna are my two absolute favorite colors here. Yes, these are the only two colors here that are expected to show granulation. Actually, even the Cerulean Blue, but I am not seeing granulation here. But these two are really expected to show granulation, but their granulation is also just so unique. You can see here the Ultramarine Blue, it has these like wavy appearance for the granulation, while the Burnt Sienna, it's very outstanding. Aside from the granulation, it feels like there's two colors here. It looks like there's a yellow ochre undertone here and a reddish earth color on top of it. It feels like a pre-matte color from Daniel Smith. See the texture, it's really outstanding. And this is just so beautiful. I have not seen any other Burnt Sienna that looks like this. This sample painting that I did wasn't the best, I know, but I believe I was able to show all the functions of the colors. When it comes to the vibrancy of the colors, I don't see any problems about that, except for I think the Rose Madder. The drying shift is very obvious, and at first when they were still wet, some looked opaque, but when they dried, they turned transparent, so that's a good thing. Somehow, I don't think mixability is its forte. The PR 254 and the PY 154 and also the Burnt Sienna, they're better used alone. So this makes me more interested to trying out all the other colors. Anyway, they only have 24 colors, so collecting all the colors would be, I think, much easier. I also feel that the colors are so strong, most of them are really strong, that they stain the paper. So having that said, they may be good for layering technique. One thing I've noticed also is that they are prone to giving you hard edges. So if you do not want these effects on your paintings, you need to handle them, you need to help them. Now for our chalky test, let's use a clean sheet of napkin and rub it against our swatches and sample painting, and if we get colors and pigment marks, then these paints are chalky. So I don't think these are chalky because we did not get any marks. Now we've come to our favorite part, which is the comparison portion, and for this, let's begin with a set of paints that are less performing as compared to the Wichitrong Watercolors. So let's begin with the school grades and the student grade paints. So we have the Sterling Arts Watercolors, the Simbalayon Watercolors, the Magiwap Basics Watercolors, the Sakurakoi Pocket Filled Sketchbox, the Dong A Creative, the Best Buy Watercolors, the Giorgione Watercolor Cakes, the Reeves Watercolors, the Faber-Castell Solid Watercolor, the Lefranc and Bourgeois Louvre Watercolors, the Pebeo Studio Watercolors, the Faber-Castell in Tubes, the Maris Watercolors in Tubes, the Maris in half pans, the Perang Watercolors 2019 and 2007, the Pentel Watercolors Fine, the Berkeley Watercolors, the Art Ranger Watercolors, the Kuratake Gansai Tambi, the Simi Art Solid Watercolors 50 color set, the Simi Arts Arch Watercolors, the Simi Art Semi Dry Watercolors, the o.win Watercolor Cakes, the o.win watercolor cakes in metal case, the Pretty Excellent watercolors, the Kohinoor Anilinki Brilliant watercolor paints, the Pelikan transparent watercolors, the Miyahime solid watercolors, the Superior foldable palette watercolors, the Superior watercolor, the Superior fan palette watercolors, the Grumbacher Academy, and the Winsor and Newton China. In my opinion, there are three higher student grade paints that are very comparable to the Wichitrong watercolors, and they're the Winsor and Newton Cutman, the Sonnet watercolors, and the Van Gogh 12+3 half pans. Now our next set of paints are the artist grade paints that are, I think, comparable with the Wichitrong watercolors, but I will choose which is better. So let's go to the Kokuyo Kamlin watercolors. Honestly, for the paint's performance, I would choose Kokuyo Kamlin, but since Wichitrong provided the pigment codes and the pigment selection is really nice as well, I think I can give this a draw. But yeah, paint performance wise, it's still Kokuyo Kamlin for me. For Lucas Aquarel 1862, I choose Wichitrong. The colors are better in general and they're more vibrant, they're more transparent. Now for the Españoleto Aquarela, I think I'd be choosing Wichitrong also for the vibrancy and transparency. For the Prima Marketing Tropicals, I think the Prima are more vibrant by a bit, but I prefer the pigment selection of Wichitrong. I've also inspected all the 24 colors and the pigment selection is really nice. They did not include fugitive pigments, so that's really giving me confidence. Now let's have the Mungyo Professional Watercolors. Obviously, Mungyo paints are more vibrant, but just like the Prima, the Mungyo Professional paints include lots of fugitive pigments in their line, so I'm giving my point to Wichitrong Watercolors. Now let's go to the Maris Masters watercolors. I think the Maris Masters are the most comparable set with the Wichitrong watercolors. Although I feel like the Masters have, more uniform texture, friendlier texture to the general user. I got very excited with the two special colors in Wichitrong, which are the Ultramarine Blue and the Burnt Sienna. So I don't know, I think I need to see more of Wichitrong, but for now I think they're on the same level. Now let's go to Paul Rubens watercolors. This is also very much comparable with the Wichitrong watercolors. Although I can see that the Paul Rubens have much cleaner and transparent colors, I cannot take my eyes off of the Ultramarine and Burnt Sienna of Wichitrong. The PG7 of Wichitrong and the PG7 of Paul Rubens, they're like the same. Even the texture, as well as the Phthalo Blue and the Sea Blue of Paul Rubens. If I had to choose now, I think I'd still choose Paul Rubens, but I'd still would want to see more from Wichitrong. Now our last set of paints are the artist grade paints that are, I think, performing better as compared to the Wichitrong watercolors. So let's first begin with the Blux Extra Fine watercolors. The colors are just more intense, although Wichitrong are more surprisingly transparent. We have the White Nights watercolors, the White Nights in tubes, the Isaro Extra Fine watercolors. We also have the Utrecht Artists watercolors, the Rembrandt Luxury Pocket Box Set, the Agalio Honey watercolors from Italy, the Winsor and Newton Professional watercolors, the Holbein Botanical Art tube set, the Holbein 30 colors, the Core watercolors, the Mijello Mission Gold class, the Pure Pigment set, 26 colors, the Daniel Smith Extra Fine in sticks, and the Daniel Smith Ultimate Mixing set. So now, if you are gonna ask me, would I recommend the Wichitrong watercolors by Silpakorn? My answer is a definite yes, especially if you are from Thailand or if you are from Asia. If you have easy access to getting these paints, by all means, we must support this Asian brand. The colors are really strong, the texture and the characters are all so unique, and they're easy to work with as well. The colors are generally transparent, and the colors that need to granulate really granulate. They were also able to provide all the important information such as the pigment codes, the light fastness rating, and the transparency codes. The paints are not chalky, and if you are a professional painter or if you'd like to use this for paintings to be displayed in frames, I would suggest you to do your own light fastness rating first for you to be more confident. By the way, V has tested the light fastness of these paints, and I'm linking the video of her results here. As a Southeast Asian, I'm really proud that we have this Wichitrong Watercolors. So again, to Silpakorn University, thank you for having these, and V, thank you for sending me the samples. You are an angel to watercolor artists like me. I honestly would want to go back to Thailand and probably meet V and also collect all the 24 colors of Wichitrong and discover more local items in Thailand. So I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you again next week.